popular AK items here at Mako is our AKL AK-4Ns. These 4Ns are polymer, they're actually 30% glass reinforced polyamide AK rails. They are great for mounting accessories, and one of the biggest issues we have is people are unsure how to install them or having problems installing them. So I'm going to go show ahead how to uninstall and reinstall these 4Ns. This uninstalls the same way that your wooden ones will. So if you have problems getting your wooden 4Ns out, it comes apart the same way as these do. So I've already taken apart the AK. I've already stripped it, field stripped it down to its basic receiver, barreled action. And if you're unfamiliar how to do this, I suggest taking the rifle to a competent gunsmith and having him do it. The first things first is you remove your gas tube off the rifle. Next, you want to remove the lower handguard. Now, there's a little clip here in the front that removes this front retaining assembly right here that holds the handguard in place. This is pretty easy to remove. Sometimes you need a little help with a pair of pliers, or what you do is you want to move the clip to a forward position. Some will be tougher than others. Now the clip should slide forward. If it doesn't slide forward, you can use a little coercion with the help of a tool. Next, the AKL, the lower part of the AK handguard, or even your simple wood ones, will simply slide right on off. Now the top, whether it be this or be the wooden handguard, requires a little more force to get out. It's held in by these two retaining plates, and what you have to do in essence is to go ahead and spin this top handguard around upside down and pull it out. So the easiest and simplest way to do this is to use the aid of a bench, get that in there nice and snug, and simply work the handguard around, like such. Now it's gotten about halfway so far, got a little bit more to go. The reason why I keep moving this around is because you see this, the receiver hang, so to speak, the overhang, interferes a bit with the vise, but now it's comes right off. And to simply reinstall it, take the lower handguard. There's a little knob in here that goes inside the receiver. This little bottom lip sits outside the receiver. If it's a little tight, it's fine. If you need a little use of a rubber mallet, or, as in my case, a hammer, that's fine too. Tap it on down. So sit flush. Now what you do is, with this little arm folded to the front position, you line up this top clip so that the pin in this arm sits right there with that little barrel cut out. And you might need a little help to work it forward. Assistance of a hammer. And sometimes the clips are a little tight. Just hammer that on down. See, that's locked in nice and strong. It's great for mounting bottom grips, bottom foregrips. Now in the package, you see also, besides the upper and lower handguard set, is a set of screws and an Allen key, along with your side rails. The way to mount these is you go from the side. You put your screws on in here, on the outside of your side rails, and you put the screw on in the inside. The Allen key goes right on through. You screw it on in, nice and tight. Torque it nice, nice hand torque and tight. You don't have to over torque it. If you want it to last a little longer, be tighter a little longer, I suggest maybe using a little bit of a thread locker, nothing too crazy. You're finished. Put this on the inside. There. And the other side is a little bit more difficult. Since you can go through that way, it takes a bit more time. What you have to do is you put your screw on in, you put your nut in, you put your screw in, and you kind of torque it this way. It takes a bit longer time, so I'm not going to show it in this video, but it can be done pretty easy. Next is reinstalling the handguard. And an important thing to note is this part hangs back towards the receiver. So if you look here, this unobstructed part of the gas tube sits front end towards the muzzle, so you want to install it like such. So you put it back in. Now a lot of people have maybe sometimes a little tight. A lot of AKs don't have these issues. Some AKs do have the issues. With this one, I can almost torque it in by hand. But if it's very tight, you can go ahead and do some relief cuts on the side of the polymer. This is polymer, so you can always take some off to make it fit. So you can relief cut a little bit here on the side. See where this is scraping, you can actually, if you have to, you can take a little hand file, swipe it down a little bit, make it sit nice and tight. Put it back in place. Now the trick is to line it up straight. This does take a little bit of trial and error. This is a little bit offset, so I'm going to put it back in the vise for a second. Line it up a little bit better. Hold it pretty good for right now. Install it. The regular gas tube goes right back on the rifle. Shut on down. And here, a couple things to note. This cutout right here in the front sight allows you to look down your iron sights, so you can still use iron sights without putting optics. If you want to put optics on here, this might not be 100% straight, but your windage and your optics will more than compensate for that. You'll be shooting just fine with your optic. It is an inexpensive solution to a $1 million problem of how to properly mount optics on an AK and how to probably get quad rails or rails on an AK.